Well, the book Lose, Love, Live, The Spiritual Gifts of Loss and Change is basically a book about life itself and how life is a matter of adapting to change. Basically, developing adaptive competence is what it's about. And the way we do that is to learn to live in the absence of what has disappeared. We build something, something happens, we develop our life, and then changes occur, and what we had disappears. The way the world was disappears. And the way in which we open up to the new world is by grieving the loss of the old world. And I think this book can be helpful to people to help them grieve that loss, because basically it identifies what I call 10 dimensions of discovery. When there is a loss in our lives, that's a real opportunity to discover things about ourselves that we didn't know, because it breaks our life open in a way that we can see things that we couldn't really see when we were caught up in the routine and the demands and claims of our regular life. And so when we've had this loss, it opens up and we can see things, and there's 10 areas in which we can discover new things about ourselves. So this book helps guide people in that journey of discovery. And by grieving the loss of the past, by attending to it, by naming it, by remembering it well, and forgiving it for not being permanent, once we can get to that forgiveness, we are freed to see what is yet to come. Once we look at our past and see where the gifts came to us, and begin to look at the giftedness of the way life has been, we become more attentive to the giftedness of the way life is becoming, open to seeing what is coming as a gift to us rather than as a threat to us. So this book is about all life and all change, but in this context of dealing with transitions into this third phase of life, this book is about how we can learn to live in the absence of this particular structure that was so important to us in our identity, and become a new person, become the kind of person that God is calling us to be. Well, I think our identity is shaped by the activities of our lives and how we become competent in certain areas, and we develop certain roles, and we play those roles, and we learn to play them well. And that shapes who we see ourselves to be, is by the things that we do. And so many of us have multiple roles, and we identify ourselves and maybe as a spouse, as a parent, as an employee of a certain company, as a member of a congregation who maybe be an elder or a leader. We are citizens. We have a variety of roles. And when one of those roles changes, it's threatening. I mean, it's destabilizing. It's like we have this circle, and we have these multiple roles around the circle, and one of them gets pulled out, and this circle gets out of balance, and we don't know who we are, and it feels scary. And I think fear is a fundamental component of what it is to face this time of our lives. Who are we now if we're not that? Okay, I'm still a spouse, maybe. I haven't lost my spouse. I'm still a parent. I may still be a citizen. But the problem is we've not really had those roles apart from this singular role that we've just lost. And when I retired as a faculty member, 45 years I've served institutions. And that was the way I was a parent. That was the way I was a spouse. That was the way I was a member of a church or a citizen. I was relating to all those other roles as a person serving an institution, a church or a seminary. So when that disappeared, I no longer was the same person as a spouse or as a parent or as a citizen. And I think that is what has to be rediscovered. We have to find a new balance, and we have to get those roles that we still have in balance, and then open ourselves to some new possibilities that can enhance those roles. And so our identity changes, and this takes time, and it takes long, sometimes difficult work. So I think that this resource is going to help people discover this new identity and find ways of getting balance in their life again after retirement or after the loss of a certain kind of a role. Now, instead of who God was calling us to be back then.